Hi folks, Captain Karl Burnside from Thumbs Up Charter Services with another episode of Thumbs Up Charter Services Behind the Scenes. We're hoping you notice a difference today because we're using a brand new piece of video equipment. We're getting a lot of problems with some of the other videos, and we threw that out. My lovely wife Karen got me this new video camera. So we're hoping that the quality of our videos goes up. We're going to talk about autopilots today, and I alluded to this in a few episodes ago. I get a lot of questions from people at the dock in the summer when we start talking about fishing and things, and they ask if I have an autopilot. And there is confusion about them, about what equipment you're actually buying and what additional equipment you have to buy to make what you just bought work. Does that make sense? Sure. Remember, boat is bring on another 1,000. So, we use Raymarine autopilot systems. We're using an Evolution system here, and really when you buy an autopilot, it's going to come with two major components, might be a third depending on how they package it. The basic system is going to be the control unit, or the brains of the situation that actually do the autopilot calculation, and then what I call a flex gate compass, but it's really not that because it has a yaw sensor and gyro in it and all kinds of stuff. This is your main input to this brain. Okay? Now, you can have another input to this as well that's optional, which is GPS data off of your chart plotter. So that would be a secondary feed in there to confirm to this computer where you're going. But really all you need is this, for all intents and purposes. So this is the basic kit of what you're going to buy in an autopilot. There may be another component or a third component to this. A lot of times they like to package these things with a hydraulic unit about the size of a starter motor. That's for everybody who has power steering on their boats. It's a good package. It's going to require some work to get correct hydraulic lines to integrate that into your power steering system. So it's not as easy as some of the other methods I'm going to show you here, which are quick and fast, dirty and cheap, and you can take them with you if you happen to sell your boat. So we're going to show you a drive unit. These typically do not come with autopilot systems. These are something that you're going to have to adapt to your boat depending on your situation. We mentioned the hydraulic pump is one form of a drive unit. The other is an electric motor made by Octopus. Octopus makes several different types of these. And it's just like the little squid that swims around the sea. The name of the company is Octopus. What they have is an electric motor attached to a gearbox that runs through a flexible steering cable into a ram system. And this one was actually used on an Alpha 1, power steering assisted Alpha 1 that we had in our Thompson that we sold this spring. And what happens is this drive unit, cable assembly, actually clamps on, right here, this ram clamps onto your existing steering ram. It's very quick, simple, fast, and it's driven off, the steering ram is then driven off by this pin when the autopilot is on. Now the advantage of this is it's fast, you're not cutting into hydraulic lines, it's easily removable if you sell the boat. And the disadvantage would be its size. If you don't have enough room in your engine compartment area to put something like this in, this has got a 4-foot cable to it. At minimum, they sell longer cables if you need it, I think up to 10 feet. But there is a size issue here. Could be a problem. But it worked quite well for us in a power steering assisted Alpha 1 situation. Now on the little lady in the Ambrose, we don't have hydraulic assisted power steering, we have manual steering, and this is fine with me. They're aluminum boats, they don't need power steering. But it presents a different problem to us, so all you guys out there that don't have power steering, and even sometimes if you do have power steering that's assisted by a cable, you can use what's called a Helm motor assembly that's also made by Octopus. So you can see it's got the same motor on it as this remote drive unit did. And it's got a gearbox here that replaces your existing steering gear behind the helm. And of course your steering wheel goes on the shaft right here. The problem with this is on smaller boats, you may not have enough room behind the helm to get this motor assembly and gearbox assembly in there. So there is that. But in our situation, on a boat that did not have hydraulic power steering, this really saves the day and it works quite well. And we use this on both the Ambrose and the Little Lady. So I hope some of that helps you understand basic components of what you're dealing with. And really you're dealing with two things. You're dealing with this as a set usually, and then you got to have an additional expense out there to figure out how you're going to make this motor assembly or this computer assembly Autopilot assembly drive the boat, and that's your second expense. So typically you can expect to be paying for the drive computer and the compass assembly somewhere around $2,400. For the drive, depending on what you're using and depending on your situation, what you're going to do, the drive unit is going to be an additional cost of somewhere between $800 and $1,200. So you're looking at about $3,600 to put Autopilot on your boat. Autopilots do not replace your best judgment. Autopilots cannot compensate for situations involving bridge abutments, water hazards, or other boaters. There's no sensory input to this system that's going to allow them to do that. That's your eyes and ears, and will continue to always be your eyes and ears. I never use these systems under throttle. I only use them when I'm trolling, and I use them as a third hand, so I can be, or second hand, so I can be back at the back of the boat setting up lines. I'm doing 2 miles an hour. This thing's going in a straight line, but I'm always turning around, checking my surroundings to see what's going on. Okay. One thing you should never do, and I see people do it, is go up on throttle, and they got their autopilot on. You can tell that they got their autopilot on because the boat's going in a straight line, and they're at the back of the boat setting lines up or getting ready to set lines up, right? And just letting it take them to their destination. And you've really got to keep an eye on what you're doing at all times, and this should never ever be used as a substitute for your input and best judgment behind the wheel of the boat. So this has been Captain Karl Burnside from Thumbs Up Charter Services with another episode of Thumbs Up Charter Services Behind the Scenes. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you would like to schedule a charter fishing event for the 2022 fishing season, give us a call, 810-513-6073. There is never a reservation fee to do so. You can also check us out at thumbsupcharter.com on the web, or you can visit us on Google at Thumbs Up Charter Services in Seaboing or Harbor Beach, Michigan. We'd love to hear from you folks. Take care and have a great day.